Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Product and Cake. Today, again, as always, with me in the virtual recording studio is Paul. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Ghonche. How are you?
I'm good. Is it a video cast? Because you just waved, and I was not sure if it's going to be a video cast or not.
Yeah, to be honest, I clicked on the recording button, but I forgot if it is audio and video or only audio. We will see.
We will see.
At least it is not mentioned here in the recording thing we are looking at. Maybe that is a product feedback for Podcastle, the software we are using to record this podcast here.
Are they sponsoring this?
Not yet. I'm on it.
Nice. All right. So we have, again, another amazing topic to discuss. It is very well connected to the previous episode. In the previous episode, we talked about how the data is needed for building great products and becoming a better product manager. And now we are taking a look at data in a different way as a voice of customers and the customer feedback. But before that, there's always going to be a check-in question. So yes. I have that ready to go, Paul. What is your favorite drink? You can have up to 3 answers because I recently learned that people need three drinks at the same time. One to give you energy, one for hydration, and one for fun.
Nice. Yeah, that is a good question. I stopped drinking alcohol for a few years already, so a huge amount of drinks are not in anymore. Before that, it was definitely beer. I'm such a big beer lover, but alcohol-free beer is okay, but it is not like with the normal beer where you want to have another one afterwards. With the alcohol-free beer, for me, it's just like, hey, okay, that was it. So the question is difficult to answer for me. Talking about energy, it's obviously coffee, just black coffee. I want to have a big can of coffee and I can drink it all, one nice. After the other. And then what I really enjoy actually is my morning water. So every morning, directly after waking up, I have a half liter of water with a bit of Himalaya salt and apple vinegar. It tastes like vomit, to be honest.
Oh my God, Paul. And that's your favorite drink?
That is my favorite drink because you get used to it. And it is super, super healthy. And it is really refreshing and energizing you because the salt is leveling up your blood pressure. And the vinegar is very good for your Darmbakterien, right? For the stuff in
your gut.
Yeah, not the stomach, the one thing after the stomach, where you have trillions of bacteria and things, and they love the vinegar. So taking that directly after waking up, and your day can be successful.
Wow.
Yeah, just get used to it. You lose a lot of water when sleeping through sweating, but also just through your breathing. And most of the people are just starting with coffee or tea and then feeling thirsty later in the day. And that is not good for your body. You should be hydrated fast.
And do you drink sparkling water or normal?
No sparkling. In the morning, it's just from the tap, half a liter without stop, just throwing it in. Like with the beer in the past. Times are changing. So, Ghonche, what is your favorite drink?
I really, really love matcha latte, but without sugar in it. So just matcha and oat milk. Nice. It's really nice. It also has a really cute color. It's really foamy. It gives you energy, but it's also for fun. So that's my go-to. It's like, it's fun. It's for hydration and it gives me energy.
But the important question is with cow milk or
oat milk.
Oat milk. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Better. Nice.
Yeah, with oat milk. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good question. Thank you for raising.
Yeah, and recently there is a matcha company in London that did a collaboration with
Us?
no,
As a
sadly not.
podcast?
Sadly not. Sadly not. I hope one day. But they did a collaboration with a chef or kind of a chef person. And they also, when I went there to get my matcha, after I got it, I drank it, and because it was a collaboration, they asked me immediately for feedback. How was it? It's the first week that we added this new matcha to our list. How did you like it? And that was really interesting for me, that a traditional business even immediately asked for feedback.
Yeah, interesting. Because getting feedback, qualitative feedback, is very important, right? Next to quantitative feedback, where you could say, okay, we sold this amount of matcha boxes in Germany now, but you don't know why, and you also don't know who is your customer, right? And all the
Exactly.
details. So why is it good to ask this question?
Yeah, so let's again look at the same example. So they probably, after 1 week of having this collaboration with this person, would have been able to see how many orders they got. So as a data point. But they couldn't have figured out if the orders came from her, like her channels, that, hey, people go get this matcha at this company, or people just passed by and saw it, or people just knew this matcha company, and then when they entered the shop, they saw, they have a new thing, I want to try it.
Or one podcast was talking about it and suddenly everyone is checking them out.
Exactly. So because of that, they couldn't connect the data with some other additional points that they wanted. So they had to approach me directly or other customers directly to understand from which channel it came. So for our digital products, it's a little bit easier to understand the channels that the product was sold or the user came through. But it is still challenging to understand sometimes the real need of the user, or how the user experienced the product. Because yes, maybe they were successful. They got what they wanted at the end, but they hated it. They were like, oh my God, you delivered the value at the end, but you killed me. You put me through pain. But yes, at the end, it worked out. Which to be honest, there are a lot of products that they work and we have to use them because they're the only one in the market, or they're the biggest one in the market, but they're really, really painful. And
True. And maybe you also, obviously you always want to fulfill the need of the customer, but ideally you want to have customers who are talking about your product, right? And recommending it to friends, or maybe even commit more to it. And asking someone is not only giving you information, it is also valuing your customer, and people feel they feel pleasured if you are asking them.
yeah, they feel more belonging to the product. They feel that they are an important part of your journey, and they are. It is extremely important to get the feedback because, as I said, if they are miserable throughout the process, their net promoter score, or NPS, is gonna be in the minuses, and they're gonna be a detractor for your company. That was really horrible. If I can switch, I would switch. So that's what you want to avoid. Like, the data tells you part of the story, and you need the sprinkles of feedback, interviewing the users to understand your course of action also a little bit better. And we previously talked about the market research and the mom test before you start building a product, or very early stages, to understand, to validate your thoughts, to validate if the feature even that you're building is going to be useful or not. But also afterwards, that you got the metrics to it, you got the numbers, you need to again add it with a layer of notes from the customers, and check, for example, with the customer support team, what they received as questions. And because sometimes you expect that in the frequently asked questions, the most question after a release of a feature or a new product is going to be how can I upload my image, for example? But then when the product is actually launched, you see most of the questions are about how can I change my address, as an example. And this tells you also which area you need to improve or focus on next.
And you have really a lot of ways to structure that and to incorporate that into your team. So let me tell you a small story of our recent org chart change, because at XU we are building this knowledge platforms. We were very much focused in the last quarter on how is the administration going? How can we support sales? How can we manage the content better? And now we are shifting. We're shifting over and are focusing now more on the learner perspective again. I'm really looking forward to. And we also thought about, okay, how can we value the voice of the customer even more? So one of our decisions was to put the customer support team into our product tech team, because basically these people are picking up the phone when someone is calling us, and this is the best way, right? You don't need to get out and ask someone. They are coming to you and tell you things. And yeah, most of the time the mood is not the best one, and most people are not calling you because you are so great. Most people are calling you because they are not understanding or they have a problem. But this is a so valuable connection point between you and your visitors or users. And you can turn that, right? You can analyze, okay, what are the problems? What are the questions? But you can also switch and say, okay, now I solved your issue. What do you think about our latest release? Or what do you wish to have as next feature or something like that? And then you can turn in a customer support request into a user engaging method. And I really, really like that. And with having the customer support team into our product tech meetings, they are automatically informed about, okay, what we are working on, what is the next release, what is on the roadmap, what did we just release, and they can use that knowledge to give better answers.
Yeah.
I'm super happy at the moment about that change.
That's really smart. At a company that I worked a while ago, we also created this rule that any new product and tech hire needs to spend at least 1 week in the customer support team. So answering phones, answering emails, and learn how it works, because that gives you the perspective that you're not only dealing with numbers. Like these numbers that go up and down are people behind it. One person that was not able to fulfill their need is a one person with a story that they still have a pain. And hearing that gives you the perspective. And also, I think it's really good for the morale of the team to understand why they come to work every day, who actually they're working for. You're not only working for the employee and for the paycheck, you're also working for the end user to bring value to them. Yeah. And that's the bigger part and the bigger motivation for me, at least.
Yeah, same for me. And I would love to dive now into team motivation and things, but let us try to stick at the voice of the customer. I want to remind you, basically our listeners, to check back into the episode number 8, where we had Karim, the founder of Savio, in the podcast. And they are building a tool on how to track in customer support and sales this feature requests and put that into a structured way into the product tech team. That is very valuable. He also shared a lot of other good insights and ideas. And you mentioned already our episode number 7 about the market research, right? So imagine the situation we have now. Our product, it's out there, it is used, marketing team is doing a good job. We did a good preparation, and now we are looking, following our suggestions from the last episode, and we're having a nice KPI tree and a dashboard we're looking at. We see all the data you just mentioned. What is now our way to make to connect to the humans behind these data points, right? Ghonche, when we sit together in our daily, we are looking at the dashboard. What is your suggestion to make that more human again?
So there are a lot of tools that product teams can use. One is, as you mentioned, bringing in someone from customer support in the daily and say, hey, what are the biggest pain points that users come to you right now? And maybe bring one or two email without the personal data of the sender, but bring one or two email with you into the meeting and say, hey, look at this meeting, and make the stories real. So the data tells you part of the story, and you can just build it correctly with the feedback, with the actual feedback. Another way that you can do it is actively doing a usability test, actively having interviews, so approaching customers directly before they approach you. So you can set on your product, you can say, hey, people, we are having these slots for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and we will give you a gift card, or we will give you a next month of our product for free, or whatever that works for your company. You offer something for them to join you and share their feedback. And in the beginning, it is extremely important to make the users feel at home when they're sharing feedback, to mentioning that, hey, we value your feedback and we are not looking for just praises. We want to hear your honest feedback. We expect you to speak your mind. We expect you to also tell us everything that you think. And then you can show them the product and say, hey, okay, let's go through these steps together. What do you think at this step? What do you think at this step? What do you expect to happen when you click this button? What do you expect to see in the next page? And let the user tell you how they use the product. Let them show you how they use the product. Another way is a little bit simpler, and that is on the product to also put some collection points. So some products have these smiley faces that like, oh, very sad, very happy. And then if you select the very sad or very happy, just a pop-up comes up at the bottom and say, okay, now write something. Why did you select this? And that is also very valuable. A lot of users will see that and just don't type anything, but even collecting, okay, users are happy or sad with this process, that's also enough. Or I recently learned that in Miro, actually I talked to them and they're not Miro, they're Miro.
Oh,
yeah.
German pronunciation. Miro.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're Miro. And I talked to them and they added something to their product, which is a thumbs up and thumbs down. So very quick feedback without any additional notes. That's a very fast loop for feedback. They added it only for the AI products now because they wanted to get faster feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And also I would suggest to invite a user that was either wrote something on your app store or wrote something on your Google location, because there are users who will write feedback also publicly, not only on your customer service or customer support channels. Invite them to your meetings and say, hey, we want to hear you out. Thank you. And this is really valuable for us.
Yeah, that is so important. And being honest and human and open, right? And not trying to sell anything. That is already a very good basic thinking. I would like to add 2 more points. One is set up a question guide. So if you...
We just lost you for a second. So you need to...
Yeah, but I think Podcastle is handling it. Let's see. I think my family switched on the TV downstairs. So now my internet connection is under pressure. I would like to emphasize on having a catalog of questions, right? Like having 5 questions you are always asking, because this is the way how you make all the answers comparable. And the second thing is what we just recently did. We hired a new UI UX designer, and he started with this user research just internally. He said, hey, I'm new in the team. We have close to 100 people working here. So I want to invite just 5 to 10 and talk 20 minutes with them. So I get two benefits from it. One is I get to know more people in the company from different departments. And the other thing is I get feedback, right? And the third thing, even three, the people, the colleagues basically also feel valued, of course. And I think this is so important, that the product tech team is not the strange people in the basement that say nobody's understanding them and they're throwing out some hard to use products. No, they are one important part of the company, and they should always value the feedback from the colleagues, because there are smart people working with you every day with the product, having good ideas, having a new perspective. So use them. And then last thing, make it agile again, right? Mm-hmm. Give yourself a goal. Say, hey, I have this problem to solve, or I want to understand this and that better. I will talk to 10 people, 5 internal, 5 external, and I will ask the following questions. And then I sit together with some other people and we're talking about it, right? And we're saying, hey, look, this is the data we gathered. Is that helping us? Does it make sense to talk to 20 people now? Or do we have already something to steer our roadmap, our next initiatives?
Yeah. Also very smart move from your new UX designer. I think that makes a lot of sense. And additionally, I want to add something before we close this episode, that when someone gives you feedback, don't try to justify it. So if they tell you, hey, this part of the product I didn't understand, don't say, no, but you should have clicked here, or no, we are actually fixing it already. Just say, amazing. Even if you already fixed it, even if you think the user made a mistake, you do not need to mention this to them. Just be open to receive that feedback. And at the end, you can say, we will take this and we will work on that.
And this brings me to my last point I really want to tell, that makes me a power user and a huge fan of Notion. In the early days, I started to use it. I found a function, or I didn't found a function I would like to have. And I wrote the support, hey, this and that is missing. And they answered me, thank you for the feedback. We are on it. And literally 6 months later, they wrote me an email and said, hey, 6 months ago, you asked for this and that feature. It is now released yesterday. Please take a look and let us know if it fits your wishes. And I was so into it. I loved it so much that they remembered that and come back to me.
That's very cool. Yeah.
And this is no problem to do in your ticket system, right? Just set up a system for yourself to put the customer requests together with your ticket system, and then you can just throw out a mailing on that one to really build fans around your product.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Nice.
Thank you, Ghonche. That was, again, very insightful. I think scratching the surface, we could talk for hours about it. But again, as always, I mean, we put together all aspects in that season. You need to have to be a successful product manager, but you are the one who is doing it and who is going the way, right? So be brave and be agile, I would say. I would want to repeat that now all the time.
Amazing. Thank you, Paul. And
have a nice one.
For all of our listeners, please give us a thumbs up, give us a 5 stars, or actually give us any rating you want. Give us also feedback. Leave a comment in Spotify. Give us your feedback or email us. And we also have a YouTube channel, so maybe subscribe there. Give us a thumbs up there and like some of our episodes there. That would be really, really helpful for us and also for growing up.
Yes, and pre-order my book.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.